कुछ होने में और बहुत कुछ होने में इतना सा फर्क है, एक बार सोच के छोड़ देने में और लग के कर दिखाने में। मान लेने में कि जिंदगी ऐसे ही कटेगी और सुबह 4 बजे उठ के सोचने में कि अभी तो बस शुरुआत है। किसी मैगजीन को हाथ में लेने में और उसी मैगजीन के कवर पेज पे होने में इतना सा ही तो फर्क है। वीआईपी सीट में और उसकी पिछली सीट में इतना सा ही तो फर्क है। वो जिसका मैदान ही खुला आसमान है, वही कल जमीन पर तो था। पूछोगे तो बताएगा वो पंछी, ये एक दायरे में सिमटने में और पूरी दुनिया को दायरा बनाने में बस इतना सा फर्क है। इतना कितना है? इतना है या इतना है? जो नापेगा वो जाने कि जहां धरती और आसमान मिलते हैं, नानपुर से दूर, अगर मगर शायद से दूर, वहां भी दोनों में फर्क बस इतना सा है। धरती और 7वें आसमान में फर्क बस इतना सा है। ये एक अंतर प्रेरणा है। ये हमारी, आपकी, हम सब की अंतर प्रेरणा है। एक कदम, एक छलांग, एक बाजी, एक गहरी सांस और एक ललकार खुली हवाओं में कि हाँ मैं बना हूं उन फिजाओं के लिए, कि हाँ मैं बना हूं उन ऊंचाइयों के लिए जो ऊंची तो बहुत है पर नामुमकिन भी नहीं, क्योंकि मुमकिन और नामुमकिन में बस इतना सा फर्क है। धूप छांव में फर्क बस इतना सा है। तो बस चलिए फ्रेंचाइज इंडिया के साथ ये फर्क मिटा देते हैं। फ्रेंचाइज इंडिया, 20 years of ideas.
A very good afternoon to all the dear friends. We welcome all of you to our Business Opportunity with Chai webinar series on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. Franchise India, where our aim is to provide maximum business solutions to all our investors through physical as well as digital events. And that is why we claim that we help everyone to get best business solutions from our side. We are among the top 10 management consulting companies in India because we have helped more than 80,000 investors in getting the right franchise from ourselves. We have helped more than 5,000 international and national brands to expand their business with our marketing platform. This is a 45-minute session about the business opportunity which we have got for you. We have divided the session into 2 parts. First, we'll talk about the business opportunity with the help of the PPT, which will be presented by the brand side, and then we'll move towards a panel discussion. We request each one of you to share your questions as well as your feedback in our question and answer box, so that during the panel discussion, we'll take it one by one. We welcome management team of Franchise India, Gaurav Sir and Sonia ma'am, both of them as a team hosting this particular webinar, and would like to take all your queries. And yes, the business opportunity which we have got for you is Agro Composite. Agro Composite is an environmental engineering company, and they're committed to create a community of the people dedicated to living a sustainable lifestyle. They work on the sustainability model. And today we have invited the entire team of Agro Composite to talk about their brand. It is our privilege to welcome Mr. Abhinav Talwar, Anilji, as well as Sonal Sharma to talk about this opportunity. But before I invite Abhinav, you to talk about the brand, we have a beautiful video on Agro Composite which will play for you. So just allow us a minute.
Hi there. This lush green forest you can see is my home, where I live with my family. This story is about the needles that I shed. Presenting Kahani Pine Ki. Everyone loves me when I'm green, but no one likes me when I turn brown. That brown is when my highly flammable needles fall to the forest floor and catch fire. These fires sweep through my home, harming baby animals and rare plants. This has saddened me to my core. Mother Nature wanted me to give all of me to all of you, but no one really knew how. Then one day, these wonderful beings from Agro Composites came to my home. Without touching the undergrowth, they carefully picked up my needles from the forest floor and took them to a faraway place. They spent days and weeks transforming my needles into beautiful products you can use every day. And finally, my needles found their purpose in durable and maintenance-free forms.
Thank you so much, Kanika. Now I invite Abhinav to start the session. I'll just share my screen for you.
Thank you. Yeah, if you can go to the next slide, please. Where we start with the corporate objective. So yeah, like you were just saying, we're essentially an environmental engineering company, and what we're probably doing is a first industry wide. What we're doing is we're building products out of Himalayan pine needles. Now, some of you may already know Himalayan pine needles are implicated in forest fires, rather tragic forest fires. These fires are tucked away in a corner of the lower Shivalik mountains and therefore not spoken as much of as perhaps crop burning, stubble burning, which is largely a man-made phenomena. But they're there very much and silently so contributing to very tragic things for our environment, such as the destruction of our charismatic flora and fauna, microecosystems, and loss of water holding capacity, and many other things apart from the carbon emissions associated with it. Now, while this may sound very technical and all, the moot point is that what we're looking to do is create an entire ecosystem for democratizing the associated carbon footprint with these products. This is the first. It's never been done in the world. We are the first company in the world with a patent with the ability to injection mold these products using Himalayan pine needles, like I said, as in bio-based. We also are first to create antimicrobial products from this, which you will see as we go ahead. If you go to the next slide, I'll be able to show you some products. Yeah, one more, please. Yeah. So what we do is we create an enormous range of tableware items. We create containers, things like ice buckets, bowls, salad bowls, hygiene products, decor products, and now we'd be gradually launching line extensions for the same. What is interesting is that while carbon emissions have so far been a purview of industries, of companies and entities that are engaged in sustainability objectives, we are now able to bring products to the consumer. So we are essentially democratizing carbon footprint for the customers, something that's not been done before. What we're also trying to say is that, so if you go to the next slide, I'll be able to tell you, the most important thing with the product is the story that's associated with it. The story, in fact, it goes all around, even on our packaging, on our products. It speaks of a lady of the forest who sheds her hair. Those hairs are essentially pine needles, which fall to the forest floor. Since they contain volatile compounds, they catch fire, and thus the animals run away. When it's in the case of the packaging, they run to the back of our box, where the forest is peaceful and safe. So the idea is we're trying to bring the concept of forest fires to the audience at large. Post-pandemic, there is a groundswell of movement towards products that are closer to nature, help you, and also do not inconvenience your lifestyle. We're perhaps trying to create entire new movement around that. For example, you'll see that our pine needle toothbrushes are the mirror to a bamboo toothbrush. Bamboo toothbrushes are a bit of a problem in the market because the ones that stay contain formaldehyde, which is a known carcinogen, and as such, the ones that don't catch fungus very quickly. So we're trying to create a whole new ecosystem around that. Pine world, if you will. Let's go to the next slide. Right, so we're a perfect match for the hotel restaurant segment. Also because we have lab tested tableware, lab tested products that are 99.84% antiviral. These products are a perfect fit for a restaurant or any other public place because of shared surfaces, which is a very important concern post-pandemic. People are tired of wearing masks or using sanitizers. If you have lab tested tableware, the chances of transmission of any virus, bacteria, fungus is minimal. So the chances of such products, their acceptability today is very, very high. And that's the groundswell movement we have seen already. Next slide, please. Being a new product, these products also represent a very important shift in the corporate gifting space. Today, corporates are required to report sustainability objectives, carbon emission related objectives, as part of what is known as scope protocols. And these products can also be customized. For example, we even have programs where we encourage corporates to either pick up the pine needles using their employees and we could transform them into products, or we do it for them. So when we're doing this, we are able to create a very visible revenue column for the sales process, and we're able to tailor make the product to the corporate. Now that enables the corporate to partake of the social and environmental related aspects of the pine needles, and it enables us to be able to make a very deep and a visible sale that will most likely repeat. Next slide, please. Our current market presence is we have a distributor in the UAE. We're ourselves not a very large name, but we have some respectable names associated with us. We have the Sheikh Jumal Maktoum Group. It's an $11 billion company based out of Dubai, and they're part of the ruling family of Dubai, who are our distributors for the Middle East region. We're going to be launching, and we've been invited by the UK Launchpad to launch in the EU markets. So naturally, Amazon also feels that we're a highly consumable brand, and we're also now going to be going pan-India with a tie-up with the renowned Apollo Group, with the 4,500 stores across India in the next 2 months. We're currently listed in a lot of platforms, but we intend to delist from this. We're going to be essentially directing all of this business online and offline to our proposed franchisee network. Next slide, please. I'd like to talk about our target group. Our target group is a woman, 18 to 44. That represents the B2C side. Normally, given the fact that mostly and the starting product is tableware, of course, it is women, but there are certain unisex products also that are highly popular. We have bowls and coffee mugs. Mostly, we've seen all of the on-ground activations that we've taken. We've not seen any social distancing being practiced. We would like to, but we have not. The customers really like our product, and therefore there are many line extensions that our customers themselves have been giving us feedback. For example, if we have tableware, then a lot of our women customers would want us to create chopping boards. If and as many of our women customers are mothers themselves, they would also like for us to create things like toys for their children. So Lego blocks is another category that we're going to be coming out with. You can see that our total addressable market here roughly looks at about 5,300 crores. That's can you go to the next slide, please? I'll talk about that. So what we're looking at with our team is there is me, Anil, for some reason is not covered here. Anil is ex-World Resources Institute, and he's our head sustainability as well. He's currently with us. And we have Ramandeep. Ramandeep has been awarded by the President of India for his efforts and works towards sustainability themselves. So we have a fairly strong team that is, let's say, very passionate about sustainability. Next slide, please. I'd like to talk about our market positioning now. Essentially, the positioning is premium, and what we're looking at is, with any new product, like product like ours is highly acceptable overseas, and we have a very strong export component for our revenue. But in India, it is highly underpenetrated, and in fact, India being anyway one of the lowest per capita markets, sustainability is virtually understood as eco-friendly or disposable as a product. In fact, nobody till date has done durable products. So we are a first here. Now, what happens with the first is, looking at certain things that are hooks for our product. For example, you can identify a product at a distance. It has got a beautifully textured surface, and in fact, some of our products even evoke the fragrance of pine needles. So these hooks are largely for an audience that is sustainable, fashionable, has disposable income, and represents the start of a bell curve. FOMO behavior, that is fear of missing out, is expected after a few years once more and more customers become aware of our product. Selling is not the problem. The real thing is getting the message out there. If you're actually able to go into an upmarket audience, and if you have a woman customer or a male customer that stops by your kiosk, you're sure to walk away with a sale, because the customer really likes the product. It is unique. There are certain tags associated with it, which the customer itself wants to be associated with. I'd like to now talk to you about our product sourcing and development. So like I said, next slide, please. The raw material is not the problem. There is enough pine needles, and in fact, we're doing a very good karma by picking up the pine needles from the forest. We do it in a very targeted way. We create tag teams that go up great altitudes, often with a bit of risk also. These are mostly bottom of the pyramid class of people who we pay above baseline wages. They actually go up to points where there are high chances of fire, and they bring down these particular needles that are deposited on their backs, forming tag teams, which then go to substations, and then to a substation, then to a tarpal, then to a jeep, which is on a feeder route, and then finally to a truck, which then, typically a truck would load 6 jeeps, and then to the railway station, to the railhead nearest, and then to our factories, which are in Baroda, Ahmedabad, Mysore, and Bangalore. Now, what that means is that there is no dearth of raw material, but the process itself is very painstaking and laborious. Naturally, not everybody is going to take the headache. So with the injection molding process that we have, which is unique, we have the ability to produce all of these materials at a very large scale, at an industrial scale, and therefore stocking is not a problem at all. Typically, we stock a few thousand units per SKU in our warehouse alone. The next slide will tell you how we intend to replenish this. So what we would do is the product would be available on a X works basis at our warehouse in Bangalore, and the margins are calculated as such. The stock replenishment is expected every 15 days, and the minimum lead time for order is 3 to 5 days, which is typically the amount of time it takes for road transport. And as you can see, we order 50 and 50 at the time of order, 50 at the time of before shipment. Next slide, please. Our idea. So what we want to do is, we have a phenomenal response for our product. Like I said, there is no one size fits all. For example, our nuts and nibbles bowl category is one of the high selling categories online, whereas offline for our customers from Vizag, they prefer to get they for example like our plates. Some customers like there is a FMCG company that wants our spoons for their jams. They are based out of Himachal. Everybody has their own choices. What we are trying to do is we don't want to be offering this on other partner platforms if we have our own network, and we want to be delisting from these places and specifically market on a pin code targeted basis for our franchisees. We anyway do a lot of marketing. In fact, you would see us all over the online space today. We are trying to at least promote every SKU every day. So we would typically rotate them. Today it may be a green meal salad bowl. Tomorrow it may be a spoon. Day after it might be a wine glass. But you would see, Agro Composites everywhere giving that fillip. And if there was a possibility for us to do a pin code or area targeted marketing for our franchisee, we would definitely like to give that support, because the win-win is critical here. Next slide, please. So, like I said, we're already expanding at a fast clip, and what we're looking at is faster growth in the B2C segment. We need to be able to make the product available. This means that we need to be going offline. Next slide. And the idea of going offline, how we want to go about it, is using a franchise operated model, which is which enables the fastest growth. It enables the investor to be able to set up the retail stores and the time to operate them. Typically, you'll find that the gestation is somewhere between 3 and 6 months. But I'll tell you that even if the regular B2C gestation was 3 to 6 months, I think in the first few months you will find mostly the B2B inquiries that would come in, because the kiosk itself that we are developing is unique. It's the first time that a company is going to be making a kiosk out of its own materials. You have not seen that before. Normally, you would probably see them for demonstration, but normally you wouldn't see a kiosk that was made out of, say, hairsprays or mobile covers. But here we'd be making a kiosk that was made out of our very own plates or things like that, which would be laser cut with that whole marketing strategy. Just as I just described on our packaging, we have those. We have the story of the lady of the Himalayas and the forest fires and the animals. So that entire story will be covered in the kiosk. We are in fact expecting our kiosks itself and the design associated to become talking points. People might just visit you for the kiosk itself. So the plan is to be able to bring this message to the masses. And if you go to the next slide, I'll be able to tell you what we are trying to do is offer a omni-channel experience, which means that we'd be doing everything from a bulk side, which is shop and shop, modern trade, and travel retail, to a regular omni-channel partner, which would be a multi-unit EBO, corporate gifting, fulfillment for the online orders that we generate, and also social media orders. But the corporate gifting is very important. Why? Because you'd find, and this has been our experience, that whenever somebody stops by the stall, mostly in an upmarket area, you will come across decision makers that are either running their own companies or are associated with their corporates, have got sustainability related objectives in their mind, and are very keen to do something about it. The product itself is a showstopper. So when somebody stops and they realize that, oh my God, the product is made out of Himalayan pine needles. Wow, can I get some? At that point in time, you're expecting to service a company anywhere between, say, 500 to 5,000 employees, depending on who you tap. So corporate gifting in itself represents a very large chunk of our revenue and a very, very potential source of our revenue, as we have already seen. The next slide will tell you that we're looking to expand into all of these cities. Typically, the top cities are important for us, but we are looking to do about 75 to 100 EBOs in the next 1 to 2 years in these cities. Now, the unit investment plan in the next slide is something like this. If you go to the next slide, I'll be able to tell you. We have two models. One is a smaller one, which is a 50 square foot model, and then one is a 100 square foot model. The fit outs typically cost 2 to 4 lakhs, depending on the size. The inventory is between 5 and 7.5. The franchise fees remains the same, and there is some pre-marketing cost. So the total investment that you're expected to make is between 10 and 15 lakh on an average. And in the next slide, you'll be able to understand that the key features, or let's say the ROI, is typically you would expect to make about 9 to 10 lakh rupees on an investment of about 15 lakhs. The ROI is about 18 to 21 months. In the next slide, please. The ROI is about 18 to 21 months, and what we're looking to address is primarily the top markets. While we understand that there is a very good real estate potential in terms of rental difference in the tier 2 markets, we are so far doing only D2C sales, and we are also interested to look at that area. So this brings us to our ideal channel partner. Who is this? So this is in the next slide. This is a person who has got networking skills, particularly for the corporates. Archana, the next slide, please. So the ideal channel partner is somebody who's experienced with the retail products like ours. While everybody can invest, what is very important for us is to see owners or people with passion, people who are involved in the business, people who would be able to actually work the business. Some of the most successful franchisee models are the ones where the owner is themselves involved. What is very important, like I just said, corporate gifting is a very large chunk of this revenue, and this product is actually a corporate gifting favorite, if you will. For, of course, like I said, it is soil degradable. Some of the products are soil degradable, some of them are recyclable, some of them are antimicrobial. All of these, whether you are in an IT company that has got, let's say, 5,000 employees and team sizes that are anywhere between 50 and 500, you will find that somebody wants to use your antimicrobial trays for their canteens. Somebody wants to gift your coffee mugs. Somebody wants them customized. Somebody wants to take your plates for a kitty party. So that's the B2C side. Somebody comes in and represents a group of moms that are asking for a discount. We are catering to it all. How? We're giving you very high margins to play around with. Typically, the margins that you'd expect are around 20%. We're giving you 35%. That enables you, provided you have a strong sales promoter at your kiosk, to be able to close such deals very quickly, whether it is corporate gifting, like I said, or the B2C side. But we definitely expect you to be in the upmarket category. We expect you to have evolved CRM skills so that you can track those customers back. Many a times we have found that a customer would come to our stall and he would probably end up buying a coffee mug, go back and really like it and come back with an order for 100 because he belongs to a team in a software company. So I'm just giving you actual experiences that we have faced, and we've found that there has been a very strong support amongst our customers for the product. In the next slide, I'll be able to tell you that we are looking to do a lot of activities around our franchisee. In the next slide, please. Essentially, what we would want to do is to create a win-win. We want our franchisees to grow because it is a win-win for us. So what we are doing is we'd help you with the site selection, with the development of the unit, with the product training. We'll give you access to a corporate network, to a Horeca network. We'd be able to predict and tell you when you're running out of inventory. We'd be able to monitor and tell you which inventory is doing better. I've seen that our customers from, let's say, Vijayawada, like I said, nuts and nibbles bowl sells very well. Somebody from Vizag prefers the plates. Himachal prefers spoons. So we have to align the inventory, and we are willing to work with you for that. So if you give you a certain amount of inventory, that doesn't mean that is it. We are willing to correct the stock. We're willing to rejig things. We're willing to supply you. We're willing to tell you where to sell, how to sell, and all of that. We also have a very large generation of orders online, and those are the orders that we'll be redirecting to you as well. If you look at our Instagram, you'll be able to see that we partner with a lot of celebrities who often speak about us. In fact, some of our investors are known names, prominent captains of industry, and these are people that will also come in and speak about the product. So all of these generate awareness within their companies, within their territories, the geographies that those companies are located in, the geographies that customers are located in. And these relate to a groundswell support for the franchisee depending on where he's located. We're also looking at, depending on the franchisee's appetite, to give them things like in-mall branding as well. Now, that is a very, very important part because you have very large hoardings that are there in that same mall. Naturally, it leads to higher customer acquisition. So this is how we are planning to help out our franchisees. In the next slide, I'll be able to tell you, if you go to the next slide, I'll be able to tell you essentially a summary of why it is so good to be partnering with Agro Composites today. And Archana, I'd like you to run that video at this juncture. There is a video for a toothbrush. If you can please run that, that will give a very good visual example of how and why.
Sure. So Kanika, we need to play the video, which has
Thank you so much, Abhinavji. A very beautiful presentation and the lovely two videos that we all saw.
Thanks,
and I'd like to thank you for presenting this opportunity to all our investors who have come in today. And I would say, friends, very interesting business model. It's new age business and first of its kind, as we saw in the presentation. And the company is based out of Bangalore. They're focusing on tableware products, which are produced from economically efficient practices for consumption of earth resources. And in a way, they're reducing the use of plastic, which is a big concern on the planet Earth. Credible names like Krishna Kumar Ji, who is also the ex-minister for Health, Railways, is also on the advisory board of the company. He's currently also the chairman of Latin America Caribbean Federation of India. They also have a very robust distribution partners overseas outside India in locations like UAE, US, UK. And if I give you a little understanding on how the product today are being produced, there are only two ways. One is the old industrial model, which is you take the product, you make the product and you dispose them. And the other is the new thinking about circular economy, sustainability, as we call them, where requirements for sustainability are rising at every step of the value chain. And there is no sector, industry, category which will actually remain untouched. Products to services, we have seen all that happening with food, packaging, fashion, real estate, lifestyle products. And in order to achieve that, in a completely sustainable manner, consumption and production practices today are going through a very big sea change. And also, I would add, margin pressures today are making it even more important that companies improve the efficiency of end-to-end product development and sourcing processes. And this is where Agro Composite comes in, and this is the area they have been focusing. And they have been doing this for past couple of years. They have presence through their distributors. They have online presence through various portals, which we just heard that they would delist because they want to give a very experiential product. Hence, the company is focusing now in reaching through their end consumers through their offline presence. And we're looking at two models, which is a retail model through a shop-in-shop, and the other through a shop-in-shop kiosk, which can also be at travel locations. And the second is through a corporate gifting structure. And before I even proceed further asking questions, I saw some of these questions have already been answered. I will also take a moment, friends. They have a very beautiful website, because I saw some questions about product SKUs. Well, we'll take it up in detail, but I had something which I wanted to show all of our friends who are actually there. And Anilji have already shared their website details. So all of you who need more information on the brand, product, and a lot of other videos that you see on their website, you can do that. And Abhinavji, you can maybe talk as I scroll through anything that you want to add. So friend, this is typically the product range. I will take you on the slide 2. They have been covered very widely also through all the media that you see, including the Forbes magazine, and also Pioneer. And they have been exporting to countries worldwide. This is a product which is 100% made in India product. I saw somebody asking because he joined a little late. So you can go on the website, friends, and see the information. And these are some of the product categories which they are doing. And all in all, this is a tableware product. And you can also see the pricing, which I feel for a product like this is very, very competitive, from coasters to salad bowls, to coffee mugs, to containers. These are some of the categories the company is currently serving. And as we also heard Abhinavji, they are also coming up with many new product categories. So I'll stop sharing that. And Abhinavji, before I proceed, this was the two models that we talked about. And friends, I will also request, I see a lot of you still asking questions. Please go on, and as many questions as we're able to take up in the session, we will do that. So, Abhinavji, like you mentioned, you're the very first, in this space. And if you look at this category overall, how do you find the, I would say, is there any competition? Like you said, you're the first of its kind company which is doing it. Is there any competition? And I would say apple to orange comparison, somebody even close by. And what do you think is the overall market size for an opportunity like this? Which are the segments, tier, which are the first I would say adopters of a product like this? And having said that, friends, we at Franchise India, we have personally used their products. Rather, a big business like Abhinavji mentioned is corporate gifting, and we use that to give to all our clients this Diwali, and we received a very great feedback, and people have actually used these products. So I would also urge everyone who is on the webinar, if you're looking at this opportunity, because their products are available online, you can even go online, click what you want, and the product can be dispatched at your home. So take that opportunity and of consuming and experiencing the product. So Abhinavji, I'd like to request you if you can give a little bit understanding market, who are the early adopters, and where do you see yourself if there is any competition which is closer to what you're doing.
Okay, so we have, I have heard, I don't know, I have heard of a company out of Europe post-pandemic that has come out with antiviral or antimicrobial products, but I've not seen them. And as far as India is concerned, we are the first. There is nobody else who's doing antiviral products. We have lab tested products. 99.84% is the pathogen reduction as per ISO and JIS standards. Now, these products are of one type. We're also making variants that are soil degradable. Nobody's done that before in India that I know of. Essentially, the ability of a product to mimic plastic, compete with a regular, let's say, high quality plastic product, and ultimately degrade as its end of life option, is a market that is as big as the plastic market itself. So it's hard to quantify as to what would be that size of market, but I'd say that it is virtually unlimited when it comes to India. So that's as regards the competition. I'm sorry, what is the third question you asked? I missed that.
Was, because you already in this segment, according to you, who are these people who are the, early adopters of this category, and typically the target audience that we're trying to cater to?
So early adopters are people that are well-read, are aware of their duties towards the environment. This is mostly a younger age group. Gen Z, Gen X, Gen Y, all of this generation is our audience when it comes to a unisex perspective. When you're looking at the tableware, it becomes a little specific. I'd say that it is largely comprised of women. That would be 18 to 44. And we have received a lot of demand for line extensions on our product. So if you're making tableware, there are a lot of moms out there that would say, make chopping boards. There are a lot of mothers out there that would say, make Lego blocks for our children, because we don't like our child to put things in their mouth, and children will. So if you can come out with antimicrobial products, it would be fantastic. There are other people out there also. When we talk about the audience, you see, there are people who are not just let's say, retail oriented, there are people who have good connections with the government. We have received queries like, why can't this tray be used for the midday meal scheme? Simple reason, something I didn't know, something to share with you all, that in the midday meal scheme, children are required to wash their dishes themselves after they're given their khana. Now, bachas being bachas, they don't do that very well. If you have an antimicrobial product, the chances of things like gut bacteria and all of that is much reduced. So the possibilities of introduction of the product into places like of work like canteens or schools is unlimited. In fact, one of our first customers from Dubai is the famous Arbor School, which is the only sustainability oriented school in the Middle East. It's a British school, and we're delighted to be, of course, giving them our products. But what I'm trying to say is that the adoption is coming from all sorts of quarters, not just retail, and it's also in the corporate gifting space. We receive a lot of inquiries from resellers, and if we have so many resellers, we can also have our own franchisee network. It makes a lot more sense.
Absolutely. Coming on, the unit economics and the business model that we're talking about, we are categorizing that as one retail model, which can be through shop and shop or a kiosk model, and the other through corporate gifting. And these two partners would be different partners. We're looking at different, capabilities at both their ends, or it could be somebody who takes it, and becomes a partner, can also open maybe certain number of units under them. And also, because we talked about institutions who are sourcing from you, will that come under the corporate gifting partner, or that is something which maybe a partner or a franchisee will also be able to cater to?
We are open to possibilities. It will depend on the appetite of the franchisee and the amount of working capital that they can plow through the business. Because as they're addressing larger volumes, naturally the amount of money invested goes up. Those will be separate formats, but we're not, we're completely open to the idea of having one person do more things.
Right. Now, understanding the unit economics and typical the inventory which is used, how many SKUs would typically fit? Are we looking at different SKUs for both these formats? And how many pieces, per format are we looking at? How is the selection of categories or SKUs, done by a partner? Is that something that we already have some data intelligence of what works in which locations? Or we look at some kind of trends in that location and then understand, what really works well at the retail side of the business.
Yeah, so like I said, we already have quite a bit of data. A lot of people have reached out to us and enabled us to course correct. So mostly the inventory would be targeted, but then there is always a learning curve. What we will again try to do is service that learning curve by way of stock correction or supporting the franchisee in any other way that is possible to do.
And what are the typical expenses of Pinavji, for a store, including the manpower, because this is a very specialized product. This also needs training on how it is sourced, what they're made of. So is that something which is taken care by you, and what kind of training is given to a partner, and also the staff, which is very important, which is instrumental in educating maybe the consumer that walks into the store?
Yeah, so I think for us, brand equity is very important. While we are respectful of the capital that the franchisee would put in, the equity is very important, and therefore we place great emphasis on the training aspect of the promoters at the kiosk. We have to be very specific in terms of our responses, because we would ideally be targeting upmarket locations where you would expect that the walk-in customer would be far more intelligent. The very fact that he's willing to invest in sustainability means he's very intelligent, he's well read. Therefore, the promoter needs to have an equally cerebral response, and thereby probably capture much larger ARPU as opposed to a regular D2C sale. So that is to say that we would be very big on the training and very specific.
Right. And, because you're already available and you said you will start delisting from various, website or marketplaces that we currently are, while we continue to promote the product from our own website. Now, my two questions, one is typically the pricing, which is something which comes to every consumer, or I would say even a franchisee's mind. So are we maintaining that price parity across all our platforms is one of the questions. And the other is, what is the kind of, do we have any promotional festival discounts that we give? And if that is given, is that something which is taken care both by the company and the franchise partner, or that's something which is completely taken care by the partner from the margins that he gets?
Okay, so to answer you, first of all, we maintain price parity all across with respect to all the platforms that we're listed on, including our website and our franchisees, discounting aside. And then when it comes to promotions, we're invariably promoting at least one SKU every day pan-India. So you would see us in probably every space. Today it'll be a green me up salad bowl, tomorrow it'll be a toothbrush. And what we are expecting is that if we have a network, then all of our sales, of course, we'll be withdrawing from the other partner portals, but we would also redirect all our website sales, which are substantial, to our geographic, wherever we have the territory.
All right. And that's very important trend. So what Abhinavji is saying, that all the sales which come in your region, even on their website, would be fulfilled through your stores, and your margins would remain same for both these, right? So margins for all fulfillment done. That's helpful. And Abhinavji, what kind of typical store expenses are we looking at, for a partner, which means on the manpower, which I understand will not be too much. And second, any other expenses which he needs to take care of to ensure that, he's reaching at least in the first 2 months, a level where he's able to break even. What kind of sales typically do you foresee, understanding that we're looking at very select locations and spots, I would say, in these cities that we want to be, and typical gestation time which it takes for maybe a potential store to reach that kind of a sale?
Yeah, so like I said, gestation time 3 to 6 months, but mostly you would see gestation would be more a function of the person's local collaboration reaching a peak. So depending on whoever he knows in that territory, and he's reaching out, he's doing some local level activations, that gestation maybe 3 to 6 months. But the moment you start seeing walk-ins, because the kiosk itself will have a design that is very unique, you would expect to find a lot of walk-ins, higher end walk-ins, who would give you B2B income. So what we're expecting is to see revenue from, let's say, the second month itself. That is one thing. And just 1 minute, my battery is about to run out. Sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, so like I said, the income stream is expected to be this, and can you just rephrase that question?
I overall trying to understand typical expenses, one would entail for a store, and gestation time, and you talked about B2B business. There's a big chunk of business that would also come from B2B.
So the HR expenses are really not a lot, except for we're placing great emphasis on it to be an owner-driven show. I think most of the franchises that are owner-driven, or at least where the owner is invested a lot, are much more successful than others. And the owner, apart from the owner, we require a good sales promoter. So that's where we are saying there would be the largest chunk of expense, apart from the real estate. Now, the real estate, of course, if we find people that are owning their own property, it is a plus. Otherwise, then the rental component is the highest. They're typically loading, and then there are cam charges and all of that. So these are the single most important parts. We have some AV components, some audiovisual components in the stall itself, but those are not expected to contribute a lot. Electricity expenses are negligible. So that's mostly it.
And typical in your model, what is the stock rotation that you see? Kya stock rotation annually, average or average stock rotation? What is that we see?
I would say that you see during a sale, I think you'll see very high stock rotation. A lot of corporate orders come in, And so frequent orders, frequent replenishment is required. At least every 15 days, you will see a rotation go in. Otherwise, yeah, on an average, you'd expect the inventory to turn over about 8 times in a year.
All right. And what happens, Abhinavji, because, there might be some inventory which might not be very fast moving. Is there some stock correction replacement
Yes.
that we do on that inventory?
Yes, definitely. We'd be very keen to support the franchisee. We do not want dead inventory. If the inventory is not running well, we'll take regular feedback, take regular stock. In fact, we'd like to predict which inventory would do better for which region, and we would, like I said, give you target inventory unless you demand it and you say, no, I want this particular product because I believe I can sell it. Otherwise, we would tell you that this will sell better.
And friends, I'll quickly take some of these questions which have been answered, but I'll repeat in case we have missed anything. And also, since we come close to our session, we have few more minutes. I will request all of you who want to connect, one-to-one with Abhinav ji. We also have their team. We have Anil ji and Sonal Sharma ji also on the webinar. The team would be more than happy to come one-to-one discussion with you, meet with you if you're local in Bangalore or also in Delhi. They have their offices. And we'll hold a special discovery day to answer all your queries. And we have a team based out of South India that is leading the project. But one very important question, Abhinavji, before I go on to the questions, what are locations? I think this is pan-India. So are there any priority cities? Because we saw many cities that you're looking at opening, because I saw one of our investors also talk about, will we be open for any of the locations outside the cities that we saw on the slide?
Yes, we'd be open to locations outside as well. We'll need to understand the prospects with let's say a detailed discussion with the person at the other end as to what their market access is, what their core strengths are, to be able to understand. Like I said, for us, brand equity is very important. It is very important for us to be doing well, and for our franchisees to be doing well. So it could be something as diverse as Aizwal, which is known to be a clean city. Indore, in fact, came first, I believe, yesterday.
5 consecutive years.
Yeah. So these cities are not on the list. They're definitely not there on the top list. But who knows? There could be a groundswell support. Like I said, for all our stalls, whenever we have done on-ground activations, we've not seen social distancing being followed. People love the product. They just want to buy it. So it can happen anywhere.
Yeah. So this was a question from Mr. I think Shiva Murthy ji asking if we can look at other locations. So definitely, Shivaji, we can look at the same. And we also have a question from Mr. Sunil Parmar. Is it necessary to have a store? Sunil ji, we have 2 models. One is corporate gifting, institutional sales. The other is a retail store, which can be shop in shop or maybe a small kiosk that we can have. So either of the two, depending on the strength that you have. And I also see a question, if somebody wants to visit any of the factories, is that a possibility one can do to have a tour?
I think we need to understand what the customer needs to see and necessary for him to visit the factory, because our production is a little distributed. In fact, we have a little bit of production at our warehouse in Banaswadi. So does that satisfy the customer, or do they want to go to the works? Do they want to travel from A to B to C? What do they want to see? We're open to showing people, because now that we have the patent, it's all right.
All right. And because I see a lot of these, in fact, all these questions are already answered by Mr. Anil, and I'll see if there's something which remains unanswered or something which might be helpful for all other people who are there. All right. I also have a question which says that, are you also open for manufacturing? Is there a possibility where somebody can even associate with you for manufacturing?
So by manufacturing, they mean, if they mean customizing products and manufacturing for them, yes, it is possible. We're already doing that, in fact, for the Avolo group, like I said, and we'll be launching with them pan-India, 4,500 stores, and we're currently manufacturing for them. So we can do that.
So manufacturing is in your same product, so they become, your producers of these products. Is that something that we would be open to at this stage?
I think you're talking about customizing the product, right? From the granules into a product of their choice. Yes, it is possible. Yes, of course.
All right. And Shivaji, we can have a separate discussion on the same. And Krishna ji is looking for more information. Krishna ji, I'll request, because we're coming at the end of our session, any information that you might have missed out, we also have a Facebook page of Franchise India Brands, where you can see the entire recorded version of the webinar that we did today. And also the entire presentation would be shared with you. We also have a detailed financial working that we have done on the 2 models. And that's something which you can go across. We are holding a discovery day. Ashna, can you confirm me what date we have? We can announce that to our investors who would want to come for one-to-one discussion. And before we close, Abhinavji, I'll also request a message that you might have for the entire audience as a closing remark that you want to share. We have people live on Facebook and also people on the webinar who's listening.
I would say that the time for durable yet degradable products that are nature friendly has come. We represent a new paradigm in this. Gone are the days when eco-friendly was just disposable and cheap. Now these are style statements that are possible to make. It is a new market. It is good karma to pick up pine needles that are implicated in forest fires. It is good karma to support people that are below the poverty line. And we must do and partake in these good deeds as well as make money for ourselves. So let everybody participate.
Absolutely, Abhinavji, and I kind of echo that. It's a good cause, friends, to be associated. So like-minded people who are looking at partnering can reach out on the hotline number of Franchise India, and also our email ID, which I'll request Ashna if you can put that in the chat box. And friends, you can take a note of our contact numbers. We are hosting a discovery day, which is a independent event that we conduct, which is one-to-one with all interested like-minded people. And like Abhinavji mentioned, they believe, and that's what they have been maintaining all these years, which is a very strong brand equity, and that you can see in the product, how they're sourcing, how that product is being consumed, in the nature of their partnerships, which they have all across the world, I would say, including their overseas partners. So profile of the partner is very, very important. So 27th is the date. You can reach out on our hotline number and the email ID that you see in the chat box, and our teams will reach out to you to block your respective times. So thank you so much, Abhinavji, Sonalji, and Anilji, for answering and being a part of a webinar today. I also thank all our friends who took their time out on a Sunday afternoon now to be a part of this webinar. And yes, I don't know the name. It says BA. Yes, you can have a face-to-face discussion for further advancement, and our teams will reach out to you and block your time for 27th. In case you're not available for 27th, we can also help you discuss any other day which is mutually convenient at both the ends. Ashna, can I now request you to please take it over from here for the closing remarks?
Sure. So thank you so much, Abhinav. Thank you so much, Sonia ma'am. Thanks the entire team of Agro Composite to come on a call. We would like to thank all the dear participants for registration joining this particular webinar. We have answered many of your queries. Still if some are unanswered, please book your slot with us for Discovery Day. You can book your slot with us at our business hotline number, which is 9717683838. Also visit us at our different social handles. Do share your suggestion and feedback. It's very easy to get the expert advice from the management team of Franchise India. Join Gaurav sir and Sonia ma'am at their LinkedIn platform. The IDs we have just shared on a screen, so please join them at the LinkedIn platform. And tomorrow under our 12 p.m. webinar, we are inviting you to join us for Chai Garam brand presentation. This is the one of the prominent brand. They're already operational with 150 plus outlet pan India, and they have a rich experience of 14 years in market. So don't miss this chance. Join us tomorrow by doing registration, which is very easy as well as free of cost. Go to our Facebook page where we have shared the registration link, as well as you can connect with us at our business hotline number. Thank you once again for joining in today. Have a very safe day. Thank you so much.
Thank you, friends. Thank you, Abhinavji, Anilji, and
Thank you very much, Sonia ji.
Thank you.